Hello, I'm Rachel and you're watching 𝐊𝐚ₐ TV live from Sydney. This is the last show of the day, the last trade. There's no better way to wind down the day than with today's market close commentary, so let's dive in. Australian shares closed sharply lower on Monday as lingering concerns around a surge in COVID-19 cases and fear over rising inflation dented demand for riskier assets. The equity market witnessed a surge in selling after fresh data showed that the country struggled to curb the highly contagious Delta variant of coronavirus. The S&P ASX 200 ended 62.1 points or 0.85% lower, led by losses in blue chip bank and mining stocks. Concerns around the COVID-19 situation in the country injected negativity into the market. In the last 24 hours, New South Wales reported 98 new locally acquired cases and 5 deaths from the COVID-19 Delta outbreak, while Victoria's recorded 13 new COVID-19 cases. Among the individual stocks, Australia's biggest listed mining royalty firm, Deterra Royalties, was the top percentage gainer on the ASX, rising almost 4%. Meanwhile, gold miner Chalice Mining was the top loser, falling 9.4%. Let's see how the sectoral indices performed today. The market breadth indicating the overall strength of the market was weak, with 7 of the 11 sectoral indices ending in the red. The materials sector was the worst performer with 2.35% loss. Among others, energy and telecom indices also witnessed a surge in selling, falling over 1%. Meanwhile, the healthcare sector was the best performer with a 1.92% gain. Among others, consumer staples and tech ended with marginal gains. Moving on to the mining space now, Aussie miners fell as much as 2.8%, weighed down by the spread of the Delta coronavirus variant in the country. Iron ore miners, the BHP Group, Rio Tinto and Fortescue Metals, their shares ended lower, owing to a fall in iron ore prices. Among gold stocks, Chalice Mining was the biggest loser on the sub-index, slumping almost 9.5%. with brokerages cutting price targets as the company missed its financial year 2021 production guidance. Meanwhile, shares in Ramelius Resources, Newcrest Mining, Silver Lake Resources and Evolution Mining also ended lower. In the energy space, index heavyweights Woodside Petroleum, Ampol, Santos and Oil Search all ended in the red. The ASX-listed energy stocks have been taking cues from falling crude prices as OPEC plus nations agreed to increase the oil supply from August after the UAE and Saudi Arabia reached a compromise. In the banking sector, all the Australians' big 4 lenders, that's the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, the Australian and New Zealand banking group Westpac and NAB all ended in the red zone. Moving on now, let's look at the ASX stocks which created a buzz today. Shares of oil and gas producer Oil Search dropped as much as 4.9% to $3.68. Now this was on the news of the exit of its managing director Kieran Wolfe. He resigned due to health reasons. Peter Fredrickson, a veteran energy sector executive who joined the company earlier this year as a chief financial officer, has been awarded his role in the immediate future. Moving on to the next stock, the share price of furniture retailer Nick Scali climbed 7% to $11.80. That's after the company confirmed interest in plush sofas. The stock had entered a temporary pause today ahead of the announcement. And now, before we look at the shares that are in the news today, it's time for a very short break.
Crypto Talk by 𝐊𝐚ₐ. The crypto market has been red hot given the Bitcoin rally since the past year. And now the most famous cryptocurrency has got competitors, Dogecoin and Ethereum. If the crypto market excites you, tune in with me, Sage, to know the latest developments about the existing digital currencies and the new ones that are joining the race. I'll help you understand the opportunities and the risks the crypto market has in store for you. For all the digital currency related developments, continue watching Crypto Talk by 𝐊𝐚ₐ.
Hello and a very warm welcome back. I'm Rachel and you're watching 𝐊𝐶𝐤 TV live from Sydney. This is the last show of the day, the last trade. Cooper Energy shares fell as much as 4% to 24.5 cents after the company released their fourth quarter earnings report. The June quarter revenue surged 31% to $47.1 million as compared to the previous quarter, driven by higher Seoul gas sales. The Hum Group shares surged over 8% to $1 after the fintech reported strong earnings in the June quarter. The buy now pay later player has continued to benefit from increased market penetration and brand awareness across key verticals. Meanwhile, Australia's leading BNPL players Afterpay and 𝐊𝐴 were also trading higher, snapping their three-session losing streak. The share price of Telstra dropped 1.6% to hit an intraday low of $3.71. That was in line with Telecommunication Services Index, which fell over 1%. The telecom company confirmed in an exchange filing that it has in talks to acquire Digicel Pacific, a leading provider of communication services across Papua New Guinea, Fiji, Nauru, Samoa, Tonga and Vanuatu. Shares of Altium fell almost 14% to hit the day's low of $31.47. That was after a report that American software company Autodesk had withdrawn its $38.50 per share takeover offer. Earlier today, trading in the multinational software firm was temporarily paused pending an announcement. And responding to a media report, the company informed the exchange it had not received any other offer from Autodesk. Shares of Empire rallied over 60% to $1.31.5 after the board of the IT firm recommended shareholders accept a $1.35 per share cash takeover bid from consulting group Capgemini. The share price of energy services group surged 𝐊𝐼𝐼𝐼 as much as 28% to 41 cents after it received a takeover bid from Altrud. The company has entered into a scheme implementation deed under which Altrud proposes to acquire 𝐊𝐼𝐼𝐼 at 41.3 cents per share. And now, before we look at the shares that are also in the news today, it's time for a very short break.
Property by 𝐊𝐶𝐤. Looking for a dream home? Well, that may sound easy, but it isn't. And from looking for a property that is the right fit for you in terms of cost and other factors, to zeroing down on the right mortgage plan, there are various aspects to consider. And for the latest slowdown in the property market, tune in on 𝐊𝐶𝐤 TV with me, Sage. I will give the latest updates on the property market as well as real estate stocks to help you make the right decision. Keep watching Property with 𝐊𝐶𝐤.
Hello, welcome back. I'm Rachel. You're watching 𝐊𝐶𝐤 TV live from Sydney. This is the last show of the day, the last trade. Shares of 𝐊𝐼𝐼𝐼 rose as much as 4% to 27.5 cents. That's after the personal lender delivered 20th consecutive quarter of growth. The non-bank lender reported 193% growth in new loans to $123 million in the June quarter of financial year 2021. That's compared to a year ago. The share price of IntelliHR climbed almost 9% to 23.5 cents. That's after the human resources software business reported a robust quarter in the June quarter. And shares of Perenti were trading over 3% to 89 cents. That's after the global mining services group secured a new contract. The company says that AMAX, a joint venture between Perenti's surface mining business in Africa called African Mining Services and leading Ghanaian mining services company Maximus, has been awarded a new contract worth $470 million. The share price of property development firm Stockland has dropped over 1% to $4.34. That's on plans to buy 𝐊𝐶𝐤𝐴𝐚 land lease communities business. The company has signed a deal to acquire 𝐊𝐶𝐤𝐴𝐚's land lease communities business for $620 million plus transaction costs. Moving on now, let's have a quick look at Asian market performance. The Asian markets opened lower on Monday and slipped to a one-week low as renewed concerns over rising inflation and a surge in coronavirus cases spooked investor sentiment. The fall in oil prices also dragged the market. Hong Kong's Hang Seng was the worst performer in the region, falling over 1.5%, followed by Japan's Nikkei, which was trading lower by 1.3%. Seoul's Kospi also traded lower by 0.9%, and Singapore's Straits Times was down 0.85%. Booking the trend, China's Shanghai Composite traded flat with marginal losses, while India's BSE Sensex dropped 0.75% in opening deals. And now for our final leg of our show, let us focus on the crypto market performance. The cryptocurrency market was trading lower during Asian trading hours on Monday, with major digital currencies such as Bitcoin, Ether and Dogecoin flashing in the red. Bitcoin, the largest digital currency by market capitalization, was trading down 1.1%. Meanwhile, Ethereum, the world's second largest crypto, fell 4% in the last 24 hours, while XRP dropped 1%. Meme-based currency Dogecoin was down 5.5%. And other digital tokens like Cardano, Litecoin, and also fell in the range of 3 to 8% over the past 24 hours. Well, that's all for now in the last trade. With our existing operations in Australia, New Zealand, UK and Canada, 𝐊𝐴LKINE Media has launched its operations in the US. Every day in our first show, the Global Market Update, you can get the latest and important news from the US, the UK and Asia Pacific markets. So on that note, I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. live from Sydney. I'm Rachel, signing off for today.